Hey free to play gang, welcome back to another video. So today's video is actually a user submission from PowerDust aka Inclino, and this footage is him using his Mona on Purgatory 12. And there is a slight twist in the way he built his Mona, but it proves to be very successful. So I would consider this a great success because he's doing Purgatory on chapter 12 with quite a fast timing of about 2 minutes or less. And that is generally quite hard to achieve, and he's using the free unit that everyone has as well, a Mona. So for this video, we're going to talk a little bit about her pros and cons, and of course we are also going to take a look at his rune set that he has equipped on her. And of course, if you've already seen the thumbnail, then you already have known what he's equipped with. But still, I find it rather interesting because I don't think anyone actually builds a Mona with HP percentage. So most players that I know, they just build her with full attack and crit and basically just use the free tutorial relics. But this guy actually put a little bit more detail into his Mona, so let's check it out. Now we're going to start with the pros, and it is quite clear what the pros are. Okay, so number one, Mona is free of charge. She is the first epic Esper that everyone gets. And she's quite strong as well. She has 2 AoE attacks, one of which absorbs AP and also heals her at the same time. And the other just does a lot more damage, especially when you land a critical hit. So that's also partly why you need her to be on almost 100% critical. She also has a really good leader buff, which is one reason why she makes a very good fodder trainer. She increases her own attack by I think about 24%. So that's an extra bit of attack power that you can actually forgo via your relics and instead opt for more HP like how PowerDust did it for his Mona's build. And probably some other reasons why she's a great choice as a fodder farmer is she needs very little investment. And by investment here, I mean abilimons. So she doesn't need a whole ton of abilimons because none of her skills actually reduce in cooldown as they max out. So right from the get-go, she already has as low as skill cooldowns as she could potentially have, and the only real reason why you want to give her abilimons is to increase her attack power. So I would say that that's not so urgent because you can definitely make up in attack power by having better relics. And it is in my opinion that one of her bigger selling points is in her first skill. Her first skill actually allows her to gain another turn if she takes an opponent out. So that means that even on a counter, she could potentially steal turns that way. And this is one way that you can shorten your runtimes by a lot because you're effectively snatching away turns from your opponent, and therefore you don't waste too much time having your opponents take their turns. Okay, I think this is about most of the pros. We should also talk about the cons. Okay, so for Mona, right, simply put, she's only really good at fodder farming. So you're going to be investing a lot of resources into a unit that probably may not excel in a lot of other content. So in this case where he's able to perform well in Purgatory 12, he would then have to allocate resources that he would have put into other units into his Mona instead. Now the difference between using Mona as compared to a Donar is because if you build a Donar with the same relic sets, right, like basically Hades and Avatara, Donar is still an incredible powerhouse in PvP. He's still a champion in PvP, but Mona is not really that usable elsewhere. And also another con is that she is quite fragile, especially if she gets stunned. So as long as she gets stunned in Purgatory 12, which will happen, there is a high possibility of you losing the run just because she gets stunned once. So even though Donar has a much slower run, so my Donar has about a 4-minute timer, some people even have it as low as 3 minutes, some people may argue that, you know, the safety of having a 100% clear run outweighs the possibility of losing one run. Because if you lose one run, yes, you only forgo 1 stamina, but that 1 stamina takes 5 minutes to recover, so that's 5 minutes that you waste just by losing a run. But honestly, all this can be settled by just having a little bit more resistance, which is something that he has said. So he believes that if he raises his resistance up to 50%, he should be able to have a much safer run. And on top of that, it is also true that, you know, the game is rather generous in the sense that if you lose, you don't actually lose all your stamina, you only lose 1 stamina. So maybe in a series of 10 runs, which would cost you 100 stamina, if you lose like 3 or 4 runs, it may seem a lot, but honestly, it's just 4 stamina out of 100 stamina, or rather to be more precise, it's 4 out of 64 stamina. But in my opinion, I think it's still a good thing. Rather than spending like 4 minutes just for one entire run, you can now complete it in 2 minutes, which is going to be not only so good for your sanity, but also really good for your phone's battery life. So yeah, there's a little bit of give and take over here, and the fact that he can improve on his Mona even further by granting her more resistance, probably more attack power as well, and maybe even more generic survivability, I think she has the potential to be quite powerful. And one more very important thing to note is that now that Donar is no longer going to be obtainable by free-to-play players, it's going to be a little bit more difficult to use any other Esper other than Mona. And I know some players use Tang Xuan because he has like a lot of AoE attacks and he has his self-heal and defense breaks and all that. But to be honest, I've never seen any of my allies Tang Xuan beat his timer over here for 2 minutes. Anyway, with that out of the way, I know you guys are already very curious to see his relic set. So let's take a look at his stats, right? I mean, just take a look at his attack power and his HP. I don't think many players can achieve those numbers very easily without a decent level of farming. And he also has 80% crit rate with 260% crit damage. That is heavy investment. Anyway, let's take a look at his relic. So starting with Una 1, he has 20% crit damage on it. And on top of that, he also has 5% crit rate. So this relic has pretty good substats, like just generally very good substats to begin with. And for the next relic, Una 2, he has 16% attack power and 5% crit damage. And on top of that, he also has HP and resistance. And for some reason, we are moving away from his Hades and into his Avatara. So 12% attack power and 10% crit rate. Very nice. Actually, you know what? I think in a future video, I'm going to show you how I value my relics. So I actually have a point system that assigns a value to all of my relics depending on how good they are and how weak they are. Next up, we have 85% crit damage with 15% crit rate. I don't think many players have a lot of crit damage, let alone along with 15% crit rate at the same time. And now for the final Hades, we have another 15% crit rate. So obviously, now you can see why he has 80% crit rate. And for the final Avatara, okay, 15% crit rate and another 8% attack. Nice. So there you go, this is the level of relics that you may need in order to run Mona for Purgatory 12. In my opinion, it is not incredibly hard to reach, but it is still quite the grind in order to find the correct pieces like this. But that will be it for this video, guys. Thank you so much for watching, and thank you to PowerDust for showing me his Mona. Honestly, I think this is a really good light that we need right now that Donar is going to be disappearing from the free-to-play world. This is exactly what we need to see right now. So yeah, keep the videos coming, guys. I'd like to see more of like what you guys have built and how your creativity is changing the meta for yourself. So I hope you guys enjoyed this video like I did. Definitely leave a thumbs up if you enjoyed the video. And also subscribe if you want to see more Dislyte content such as this. And this has been free to play, by the way. And as always, I will see you in the next video.